there is an intertwining between studies and working life. In fact, even before high school, there's something called the tech work.
What's up and welcome back to my channel. My name is Bolutife, but of course you can call me Tife. So I do live here in Helsinki, in Finland, and the video you are about to watch is the second episode of the Career Talk series. So why am I doing this Career Talk series on my YouTube channel? So I came here to Finland some 6-7 years ago. And when I was done studying, or when I was ready to start my career, I had so much questions that I didn't know how to get answered. Like, what am I supposed to do? You know, how am I supposed to place myself in a strategic position to get a job here in Finland? How should I even write a cover letter that fits into the Finnish society, or that reflect that you're writing from Finland? All these questions I had. So I wished so dearly in my heart that there was a YouTube channel, or at least there was someone that I could speak to about these things. So I thought that I'll bring on specialists and experts that would speak about their career journey in Finland from different fields. So the first episode was a software engineer or a cloud engineer. It's been here and there, so it could be all of those. So it was Lanre. You should watch that video if you haven't watched it. He had so much wisdom to share about career development and his career journey here in Finland. So now this new episode is with a business developer, Barry Philip. Barry will now introduce himself. Keep watching.
Guys, I'm Barry. She said it already. I live here in Finland. I live in Espoo currently. I'm a student at Aalto University. And I've been living here for quite some time. I think maybe the last 17 years. So yeah, I'm not new, not a
newbie in Finland.
Not a newbie, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so I thought that it'd be nice that we had Barry on here, since he sort of has a different perspective in a sense when it comes to living in Finland, and he could share that with us, with you guys as well, so that you can know when you come to Finland, and if you are here already, maybe there are some tips and tricks that you could share with us today.
Certainly.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, so first, thank you so much for being here.
It's my pleasure. Been looking forward to coming to this famous channel. I'm a fan, number one fan.
Guys.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. I would ask who you are, but would you mind sharing some things that you probably haven't said just yet?
Yes. I've done my entire education here in Finland, so my lower primary school, my secondary school or high school. I know it's different in different countries, yes. And also my university studies over here. However, although I've studied in Finland, I've always studied in English. So I'm very familiar with the international community here in Finland too, yes.
So since you study in English, do you speak Finnish then?
That's an interesting question. I say that I speak Finnish only in emergencies. But of course, the language has trickled in. I do understand a great deal of Finnish. I'm comfortable in a Finnish working environment. I'm comfortable handling Finnish, but obviously if it's higher level work, I prefer to use the language which I'm academically trained in, which is English.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I think we missed the important part. Where are you from?
Where I'm from, can you guys guess?
Like from? Where are you from?
Where am I from? Oh, yeah. A controversial question to ask these days, but nonetheless.
And it's a question people ask a lot. Even there's controversies like, where are you from? I mean, like from.
Yeah, where are you from?
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. So where I'm from is, I'm originally from Kenya, yes. Nairobi born, you know.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool. Just sort of like a pivoting, how many languages then do you speak Swahili and...
Well, theoretically, I speak English. I speak Swahili, which is the national language of Kenya. English is the official language of Kenya. I speak Luo, which is my mother tongue. Finnish now, and French, which I've studied now for a long time.
Yeah, thank you, Barry. Really interesting background you do have. So you mentioned that you study. What's your latest study? I would say where do you study, but you studied in Finland, but what do you study right now?
Currently, I study process engineering at Aalto University.
Aalto, okay. Yes. Amazing. So my next question would then be like, what was your first job in Finland? And what age, by the way, did you start working? Because back in Nigeria, it was not so, at least, guys, not generalizing, because I know I have a lot of Nigerians, but what was familiar to me is that most people don't work up until after they graduate university, and I think it's mostly because of the lack of jobs. But here in Finland, I noticed that most people start to work even in high school. So when did you start working, and what was your first job?
Yes, there is an intertwining between studies and working life. In fact, even before high school, there's something called the TET Work Week, where I worked for Yliopiston Apteekki, which is like a
Pharmacy.
A pharmacy, yes. Yeah. So I've done that in high school. I did do some work. There's summer jobs which are available, but the first real job that I did, I began as an entrepreneur. I had a website where I was tutoring and connecting tutors with students.
Okay, I like this part because, I mean, I do know Barry a bit, so I can sort of like out him. So what are you tutoring people? Are you like a maths major or what?
I'm maths major. Okay, well, I have represented Finland in mathematics. Yes, okay. I've won a couple of awards. So I'm not a maths major, but okay, I have studied mathematics also. Yes.
Yeah, so it's really good at mathematics. So if you wanna, do you still tutor, by the way?
Yes, I do.
So if you wanna hire Barry for some maths things that you don't know, I don't even know what they're called. Maths problem. Now you'd like to get some. So I probably will put the article or some pictures.
Yeah.
To show when you won the award. But yes.
It was a tutoring website. It connected people who tutor different subjects with students. And I did it internationally. So it was some here in Finland, clients here in Finland, some clients in Monaco, some clients in France, and other clients in South Korea and Spain, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it must have been really big then. Like, how did you sort of manage that if that was your first job? Is there any skill that you sort of like acquired then that is now serving you as you move on in your career?
Well, I think that was the first lesson I got in terms of connection and networking, because a lot of my clients were referrals. So when I got a client, they would refer other clients to me. And that's sort of how the network builds. So it's very important if you're starting a business that's client-based to build a network and to understand what kind of network you operate in. Yes, so that's one of the lessons it taught me.
I think that's a very profound lesson, because if you ask anybody, when I first came and I'm looking for a job and I'm asking people like, hey, what can I do? And everyone is like networking. And I'm like, what am I even supposed to do? And now I would pose that question to you, because even last week I sat down with somebody who was, trying to find out what could I do better to find a job, and the person said, people talk about networking, what does that even mean? Right? So I posed the question to you.
Yeah, that's true. I think many people, it's really a bourgeois term, people like fancy hiding behind the word networking. And I think there's I wouldn't call it toxic, but like there's a whole emphasis everywhere you're going in meetings to network. But for mine, it was very organic, so it wasn't something forced. If you spend time with a client and you do well, and the client has other friends who have similar needs, then it's very natural and very organic. So it's not like synthetic high environment where I go to a place to network.
Just to network. Let's go network.
Exactly.
But I think that's super profound. Like just being you, just being kind, just being helpful, And what I actually then told the person was that it's simply just, connecting on LinkedIn. It's simply just saying, hey, I have this conference, would you like to join in? It's simply just being friendly and normal and nice. So
yes, definitely.
when you hear networking next time, do not be afraid. It's just connecting with people, basically.
Exactly, yeah.
Yes. Well, then I would ask, like, did you struggle in a sense, like adjusting into the Finnish work culture, or were you already very Finnish sized by the time you
finished? The term is finished.
By the time you got to this working age.
That's a very good question. Well, I have lived in Finland for 17 years, so it wasn't like Finnish work environment. It was just work environment
for you. Okay.
So yeah. In fact, many of the people I worked with, some were Finlandssvensk people, so it's the Finnish Swedes people over here. In my first corporate job, which was at Wärtsilä, yes. I didn't find it difficult to adjust at all. Yes, and I think most of the people working in those high-end jobs, they have some degree of internationality.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least in Wärtsilä, they pride themselves in being a bit international. So my line manager was somebody who had traveled a little bit. So that helped me, that cushioned it. So maybe one thing I would say is that it's important to identify bridges when you get into a new society, like people who kind of understand you and can help you link up. There's nothing wrong with that. You don't necessarily need to dive into the deep straight away. There's always somebody in an organization who has traveled. That's the kind of world we're living in right now.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes.
So is it sort of like then networking with them, like being on their LinkedIn and saying something like, hey, if you have something that I could join in, invite me. I'm asking this because we had something in our workplace, which is like women in product, and so this woman was talking about she's an amazing woman. She works in the American company, and she said when she went to, I don't know, some other country, maybe one country in Asia, and then she was an international person there.
Yeah.
And then she sort of like asked and spoke up about like, hey, if there's somewhere that you think I can join, if you have something to do, and then people will be open to invite you. So is that what you're talking about, or is it still very much organic and laid back?
Yes. So okay, within bigger corporations, there's a whole corporate culture. That's true. Especially international ones that are operating like maybe in more than 5 countries or something like that. So it's not something that can happen so organically, because there's some people like if you don't yourself go out to meet, you won't meet. That's why they have a lot of emphasis on, for example, in McKinsey, which is a consulting firm, they have McKinsey Black, which is a network of people who are of African origin or consider themselves African American. So these are great places to network. That's true. You have something in common. The group appeals to it. So you are bound to find people there who it's going to be feeling organic. It's going to feel natural. It's going to feel right. So I think in essence, if you can make your network organic, do it. Right? And there are ways that companies have provided of allowing that process to flow. McKinsey, for example, has McKinsey Black, and they have other networks in them. So you and I, if we went there, right, we would find it easy to relate with them because it's beyond work. So I think those groups are easy to spot out. Very easy places to network, yes.
Absolutely, I like that. That's true. Well, thank you. And
which groups are you part of?
Good question. I'm not so much in any sort of like international group or whatever, but I think what might have helped me a bit is networking. The big word.
I'm the interviewer now. Yeah.
The big word networking, but I like to tone it down to just say connecting to people. Just being open. At first when I came, it was like I was very like laid back. I don't like to go to events. I don't like to do these things. But I realized that there's no way. Like it's so important, and it was sort of out of my comfort zone. But I had to do it, and it wasn't networking like 24 hours being with people, but just simply connecting to their LinkedIn, and then when they post a job, I can be part of the first people to see the job and things along that line. But something I would like to ask you, something a bit less career-ish. But before then, actually, sorry, you spoke about working at Wärtsilä.
Yes.
So how did you get the job? Did you have any special skill that they took interest in? Or did you have some sort of strategy? People talk about hidden jobs. Like, what did you do to actually get the job? Because
yes.
I would say, Wärtsilä is a big company, and I think I had applied there some few times and I did not get in.
Yeah, that's true. Many people have. Well, it is competitive. It is a competitive company, and even within Wärtsilä, when I was there, people were a little bit surprised, like, "Hey, you're so young and you've started to work in this company." But my strategy was, I don't know if I had really a strategy, but I wanted to show them that I bring different strengths. Yeah, so I highlighted, for example, the achievements which I did in academics, and it was a specific kind of program they were offering. It was this woman mentored program, so it was like specifically for students who are in their final year of their bachelor studies. So they got the internship to enter Wärtsilä, and I think that I catered my CV relate to the requirements of the job. So just the basic things, but obviously you need something a little bit extra to get into it. So if you have something special you've done, something that you think can pique the interest of the hiring person, please do it, because it stands out.
Yeah, I would say that's absolutely true, because I was speaking with someone and he was like, oh, I've had a business before in Tanzania, but I wouldn't put it on my CV because it's in Tanzania. And I was like, no, absolutely, it should be there on your CV, even highlighted, because even though I've changed career lines, but it's very commendable to start a business, a successful business, a business that flied. So even if it's not directly connected with what you're applying for, it just shows your sort of like behavior and your strength, that you're not lazying around and you can actually do something.
And people are people. Even if they're hiring, they're still people.
Yeah, that's true. True. They can be impressed, they can laugh.
Exactly.
And things like that. Yes, I wanted to ask, like, what are some key skills and qualities to excel career-wise in Finland, being that you've been here for a while, you've seen things, and you've interacted with international students, so you sort of have this broad view. So what would you say are the important skills and qualities?
Number one, everyone knows punctuality. Be on time for meetings. That's already goes a long way in telling your colleagues and co-workers that you're a competent person. Be on time with your projects. Just be on time. Be on time. Just be on time. That's the number one thing that you don't want to get wrong. Maybe two other key skills that I think you should have is, at least for me, I'm very good in English. I'm very proficient in English and in designing things. So I didn't just do things the ordinary way people would do them, of course. I first established what my boss wanted, but then I also tried to do something a little bit extra that would kind of like, have that wow factor. Yeah.
So going the extra mile, you mean?
Yes, and it's surprised this isn't something only done by me. I had a very productive, I would say, very robust co-worker who was Finnish. He is like living. He's not maybe been living in Helsinki. He's been living in Vasa. But like the dashboards this guy made on Power BI, like you could see that this guy did extra work. Sometimes they don't even sleep the whole night because they're working. Many people don't want to see that side of Finnish working life, but they will go the extra mile. It's better they say it's too much than it's too little or it's mediocre.
That's so true.
Yeah, so I'm not saying, of course, it's a bit risky because sometimes some people over deliver which is not part of Finnish working culture. Like
just be normal.
Yeah, be normal, but where you can go extra, where it's allowed to go extra, let people see that final quality. Yeah.
I agree with quality because I think we mostly just want to do the minimum. Like, what are they asking of me? Let me just give that. But you can go a little bit extra, like make it a point. Like if they are choosing, like if they have 10 people, what would differentiate me from them? Like what would they see and be like, this is different, just putting in the extra energy, even if it's about asking questions, just to be able to gather more information that can help you to do the extra. That's something to actually make a point on. Yeah,
and maybe if I can just touch on that a little bit. I'm sorry. Yeah, because you have to view yourself, if you're an international person, you have to view yourself like this. The company has to think of you as an asset. Like we are going to bring our quote unquote foreign expert on this. So there's some sort of asset or value or expertise you have to bring to that field.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that makes you not only maybe irreplaceable, but that makes you somebody who they will think that, okay, well, this is not just within us, we have somebody extra we're bringing in from the outside, a specialist. So that's kind of an identity or niche that I try to curve for myself. Like, okay, well, I'm the person here who is going to do these things, in a just 20 international standard. Yes, exactly.
Absolutely. I think that's good. viewing ourselves from a sort of different perspective, positive now, because
Yeah.
people sort of see internationalism kind of bad way. I mean, that's not how it should be, but in most European country, it's almost like a negative, like, oh, you're an international snake, you'll never find a job. Like, I'm sure in America it's very much embraced, but like just saying it that you can actually leverage that and see it in a positive way, I think that's good.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yes. What career? Now we're moving to the end, so I have one more career question and one more a bit, chill question for you. So, what career-specific advice would you give to someone who is coming now to Finland? Like, is there something they can do in preparation before coming here? Or I know you've given sort of like tips and tricks here and there, but is there something specific for someone coming from India and Thailand and Nigeria and Kenya, maybe?
Yes, maybe twofold.
Okay.
Yeah, the first one is you're not beginning from zero. I think that's one mentality that has been toxic, that you've come in and maybe you haven't found a job in the first 5 months and you think that you're beginning from zero. No, a lot of experiences are relatable, are translatable in Finland. I think Tife is a very good example. There are many people who've lived here for a long time and maybe they have been even surpassed by people who've come to Finland at a shorter time. Yeah. Some people who've been here and they've sort of gone lazy. Yeah. So a lot of the experiences you come from your home country, they're translatable over here. If you need to make adjustments, you need to improve. That's true. It's not going to be a hand in the glove situation. There's going to be some adjustments, but ultimately it's translatable. That boarding school you went to, it's translatable.
That's true.
People here don't have that experience. Yeah, so don't look down on, don't despise small beginnings. Don't despise where you're from.
I really like that. If I can just come in really quickly, it's like a change of mindset, because the mindset is like, I get a lot of messages from you guys, like, oh, I'm coming to Finland. You know, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to change? How do I start? You know, where do I start from and stuff like that. So even hearing it, like you reaffirming and saying that you're not starting from zero, at least that was not a mindset that I really had. It's like, oh, now let's start again, you know. So I think that's good that, you know, you can translate whatever skills and experiences you had into this society. Actually, I did forgot to ask you, what are you doing at the moment? Are you working? I mean, of course, I do know that you're studying at Auto University, but like, are you currently working? Are you working part-time? And what are you working as if you are working?
Well, currently I am a business developer at a pharmaceutical company.
Oh.
Here in Finland, yes.
Okay, that's amazing. So you pivoted from Wärtsilä. What industry was Wärtsilä again?
So I think Wärtsilä is primarily concerned with the energy and marine. Yes.
So marine industry to pharmaceutical industry. So does that have any sort of like change, or is it like, okay, I'm still doing business development and it's the same thing? Does the industry have any impact on your work?
Money is money, data is data. So not too much of a difference. However, of course, it helps that you are able to understand the terminologies and the importances. What are they driving towards? Yes, it's different, the goals in a marine and energy industry than in a pharmaceutical industry. Yes, and also the incentives and the KPIs, they're a little bit different, of course. So, I mean, that adaptability is maybe what has changed, but especially in an area like business development, you have to know where the company is heading towards. So of course, in the preparation for the job, in the interview prep, I do a lot of reading. I try to understand what it is they're trying to accomplish in this particular moment, and that helps a lot. You're on the same page with all your co-workers. You kind of know what will give a good impression to the customers you're dealing with, what will give a good impression with the higher ups too. Yes, what are they trying to achieve currently in the office? So yeah, that's very important. Yeah.
And actually, that's something I wanted to highlight. We spoke about doing things in high quality and even going above and beyond. And that's important even in the interview process.
Yes.
Because you think that I'm just going to sit there, it's a two-way thing anyways. I ask them questions and they ask me questions, but they want to know that you're taking time to study the company, to try to understand that you have questions, and not just questions of how is it like working in the company, but questions of, oh, you all said that this is your goal for this year. How did you come towards that goal? You know, things that shows that you are taking your time to, you know, research the company and you have interest in that company. And that's one way to show excellence when during the interview process.
100%.
One last question, the one I promised you that is not very much career-wise.
Okay.
How the cliche, how is it like growing up in Finland?
Yes.
Expected it, yeah.
I don't know if I expected it, but I mean, I think it's a complex one because I moved there when I was 7 years old. So old enough to know that I was not from here, but still young enough to kind of have an integration into the system. So if I went to a purely Finnish school, then I felt my experience growing up here would be different. But maybe just in short to say how it was, I think the international community really helped me. So I kind of lost being a Kenyan and I felt more I was an international. So an international, just I felt at home with people who had traveled to different places. And that's where I found my community here. So I did the International Baccalaureate program, the PYP, MYP, and also the diploma program. So that's kind of where I found my roots. And I think it's hard for me to contrast it with anything else because that's how it has been. But I felt like an outsider a little bit. I can say that.
You have?
I have, but I'm comfortable being like that. Yeah. So it's complicated. It's complicated. I feel at home with international people. But yeah, but in Helsinki, I feel like in the last 20 years, I have been told it's really just grown to be something very international. Yeah, maybe if I lived in another country, another city,
then you might be able to contrast and compare.
Contrast, yeah, but it's pretty international in Helsinki, especially nowadays. You go to Stockholm, they're giving announcements in English, Finnish, French, German, Russian.
Absolutely, that's
Mandarin,
so true.
yeah, exactly, yeah. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Barry, for being on this channel. I'm sure everyone is excited to have you on here.
Yeah.
And if you want to send a message to Barry, I will link his LinkedIn up there and his Instagram as well. And yes, that's it. But do you have any last word? Which do you prefer, LinkedIn or Instagram, for people to reach you based on Career Talk?
Well, Career Talk, you can send me a LinkedIn message. I don't check my Instagram so often nowadays, so I'm off the gram for some time. But you can send a message there too if maybe you want to have like a less formal setting. That's okay with me. And of course, you can also send to Tife, and if she needs my expertise in it, then I can refer it to there. Yeah. So
yes,
I'm very open in that sense. Yes.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, and thank you guys for watching my video today. I'm super happy to bring on these experts on here for you guys to ask questions and just try to see what it's like working in Finland. If you have any questions that you think that I've not covered or I've lost track on, please be sure to put it in the comment section, and also give this video a thumbs up if you love the video. And if you actually want me to continue, I have to know that you guys want this kind of video and I should be continuing the video. And see you in my next video.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye, guys.